What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of FTB Infinity Evolved Expert Mode. Oh yeah, guys. So I've been playing around with this armor, the Draconic Evolution armor, and yeah, there's a lot of features about this that I didn't really talk about, or know about, I guess, or forgotten about, one of the two. Anyway, the Draconic Staff of Power, like we saw last episode, we can do an attack AoE of 25 by 25, so that means if I come over here and tap Mr. Squid, all the squids in the general area get killed off. That kind of sucks for the squid, but it's kind of cool for farming. So anyway, yeah, we can go ahead and collect a lot of this, and I assume this would be a fast way to collect mob souls too, with the Reaper 5 enchantment on here. Yeah, especially like if you're trying to collect mob souls for a mob type you don't have, you can just use like Ender IO power spawner or whatever, MFR spawner, spawn a whole bunch in AFK for like 5 minutes or whatever, come back and then, you know, just tap one of them. Yeah, eventually you do that enough and you'll get all the mob souls you need, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, another thing that I have done, I have turned on, what is it called? Let's see, this one. This is called night vision. That's what it is. Of course it is. Yeah, I turned on night vision. That's one of the options that you have with the helmet. Now, normally with night vision, you get a whole bunch of little swirly particles in the face and it's super annoying, or fart bubbles, or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, and the only way to really deal with that is to turn particles off. So I have not turned particles off. We have particles all, and we are not getting the little swirly fart bubbles in the face. The reason for that is I have added another mod to this mod pack. It's purely client-side functionality only, but yeah, it turns off player particles. This is, well, there's a lot more features. This is the only feature I'm using from this mod, I should say. Let me clarify that. This is Sprinkles for Vanilla, I believe is the name of the mod. It's by Vikestep. Anyway, like I said, I'm only using it client side, and I'm only using it for those particles, so we're not changing the pack at all, other than getting rid of those little swirly fart bubbles in the face, which are super annoying and nobody likes. Yep. So anyway, so yeah, that's one thing that I've done here. Yeah, I was told in the comments for the dig size, you see in the lower left-hand corner, how it says dig depth of 1. If you hold control and you right-click, yeah, you can change that. So we can do a dig depth of 9 if we want to, or to 1. Yeah, so dig depth is 1, size is 1 by 1, and AoE safe mode is true while I'm in the base. Yeah, hopefully I remember that. I don't accidentally the base, because that would be bad. Anyway, so what I wanted to work on today is I wanted to start looking at getting these machines, I think, moved to that mining dimension like we were talking about before. Where it's always daytime and we can take advantage of the solar power there. Yep. So right now, let's see, where to start. We want to get these things moved. We want to get these machines out of here, free up a little bit more space. One thing I've been looking at recently is getting auto crafting set up. And for instance, like this metal former, I can use it for auto crafting. Only one thing though. Like, it's got a rolling option, a cutting option, and an extruding option. So if I wanted to roll stuff out, that's great. But if I wanted to extrude something, I'd have to come over here and press the button and then, you know, whatever. It's just annoying. Basically, what we want to do is have 3 of these machines set up on all 3 different functions. And there really isn't room to do that. So once we get this stuff moved out of the way, yeah, we'll have plenty of room for expansion. Also, we have these machines up here on like the 2nd level. I never really liked this to begin with, but again, we were kind of confined on space. So yeah, getting rid of all this stuff, that'll free up more space for us. So I've already started working on a little bit of auto crafting. If you've guys seen, I think I've shown this, haven't really talked about it, this ME interface terminal here. We have some different options here. We have one for a compressor, the electric furnace, the macerator, and then down below all of our molecular assemblers, like we've been doing for all of our regular crafting stuff. Yeah, these over here, these are using a different type of our patterns. These are using, what is it called? A processing pattern. Yeah, if you want to do the regular auto crafting, you have to have this set to a crafting pattern. And you do your little crafting grid, and then you say make it, and it'll make it. But if you want a machine to do crafting, you need to do a processing pattern. And that way you can say, if I give you 1 wither skeleton skull, you'll give me back a block of coal, whatever. I mean, I know that doesn't make sense, but that's how these work, and then you encode that pattern and you stick it over into an interface touching that machine for the processing to happen. So I've done that over here. Let's pull out our crescent hammer. Yeah, take off these cable facades. Yeah, so I've done that over here. So here's our macerator. It has an ME interface below it with one of those processing patterns. I give this machine Fluix crystals, it does something, and then it spits out Fluix dust right back into that interface. So yeah, this is the only connection we have for importing and exporting items. And then in the machine, I have this ejector upgrade that automatically outputs to the bottom side. So once it gets the items, it processes it sticks them to the bottom side, which is our ME interface, which puts them back in our ME system, right? So I've tried this on a few different machines, and it seemed like they were working in some places and they weren't working in others, and I couldn't figure this out. So what the difference is the ones that it wasn't working on, I had micro blocks. Yeah, AE2 cables work with both their cable facades and they work with micro blocks, so you have the option. But when you place a micro block in the same space as a ME cable, the Applied Energistics 2 cable, it converts it from the regular cable state into a micro block state. It looks exactly the same. You'd never know the difference until you try and break it by hand or use like a pickaxe or something that's not instant break on it. But yeah, you'll notice that it'll take a lot longer to break. So it is a different item. So anyway, when I had the auto crafting set up and I put like one of the micro blocks like right in front of it, yeah, these machines no longer are able to output automatically into the interface. It was the weirdest thing. Like we could put items in there, but it wouldn't eject back down. So I don't know. Yeah, if we're gonna do the auto crafting, we can't use these micro blocks. We have to use the cable facades, which is perfectly fine. It's not a big deal, but that's just something to be aware of if you are setting up auto crafting. Cool. So speaking of auto crafting, one thing to another. Yeah, we want to set up auto crafting here so we can make solar, so we can move this stuff out of here, right? All right, so that's going to be the next thing we're going to work on. So solar panels, not solar, solar. We want to make these ultimate hybrid solar panels. We have a lot of this auto crafting stuff already pre-made. I've already had to set these up for making like advanced circuits and all sorts of other crazy stuff. Coal chunks, yeah, I'm gonna have to set up actually a lot of these processing patterns for specifically like these things. But some of these we already have set up, like the advanced circuits. I think this is one I'm gonna have to set up. That uses a Cenarium piece. I'm not 100% sure. Iridium ingots. Okay, so that's something else. I'm not 100% sure if I have Cenarium pieces because I know we were doing the full things of glowstone. I might have made some up initially. Okay, we have 26. That's not a whole lot. Let us grab a stack of glowstone and stick it over here in a molecular transformer, so we're gonna make sure we have plenty of this stuff. This does take a minute to process. In fact, what I should do is disconnect this. Whoop, disconnect this thing so these stop running and it gives it a little bit more power. In fact, I think I'm going to turn off our mass fab right now for making our iridium reinforced plate. Man. Yeah, anyway, so this should be getting the full amount of power. It's going to be making these Cenarium pieces that much faster. I'm going to get some auto crafting stuff done. I'm going to take a break from talking since I can't talk straight, and we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, so I spent a bunch of time here making a whole lot of auto crafting patterns. Yeah, I had to make one to convert silver into silver dust, one that converts diamond into diamond dust, and one that converts coal into coal dust, all through that macerator. I had to make the one for the compressed coal ball, and I think that was it. I already had this one in here previously. And then down below here, lots of different recipes. Yeah, these are all the ones I just had to craft up now. I made this just so we have a way to move the power, but these are all the ones that are required to make the ultimate hybrid solar, at least the ones that are required that I haven't already had made. I think we need circuit patterns that I already made and other things. So anyway, ultimate. Let us see if we can craft one of these. Whoops, just one. Let's not get greedy just yet. So we can craft one. It looks like everything should be fine. Oh, I'm noticing now that it's using these copper cables. That's going to be a problem. We don't have that on auto craft. That's a problem we are trying to solve. Trying to see if there's anything else in here that I'm going to have to deal with. Signalum, we don't have anything that's currently making signalum. There might be signalum bees. I'm not entirely sure, but that's something we're going to have to look at auto crafting in the future. And glowstone we have coming in. I think everything else should be fine. Let's go ahead and start and craft up one of these. Let's just see how long this takes. Actually, I guess we could do this and that might be more interesting. So this pattern here, I have it doing 1-to-1 for that coal dust. I might switch that so it puts in a stack of coal to get one, so it'll always craft up a stack at a time. That might make things a little bit better. But here we go. There is one ultimate hybrid solar panel. That's pretty awesome. Oh yeah, these are cool. So you can take 8 of those and put those into one block. Yeah, we've already looked at this before. 8 of those can go into one block. It doesn't increase the power, but it saves space, and I think it outputs 4096 RF or EU a tick, I think is what it is. So yeah, these output 512, and the other ones would output 4096, I think. So anyway, we're going to make up a bunch of these. We're going to put these in our quarry world so we can have some power, some EU power to power our Mass Fabricator and stuff, and we won't have to draw off our main base power anymore. I think that's going to be pretty awesome. I guess it's over here, isn't it? So yeah, let me go ahead and craft up a few more of these, and we'll go over to the quarry world. Actually, let's just see if I do ultimate. Can I craft up? I don't know. Let's see if we can do 7 more of these. Well, let me know. We are out of the reinforced glass. Oh, that's a pattern I haven't had to do. What's all this? Oh, we need more irradiant uranium. That's fine. Yeah, copper cables, tin cables. All right. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get some more stuff done, make some more of these solars, and we will be right back, guys. All right, guys, well, I've done some cleaning up here. I removed all of our scrap machines. What are those things called? The recyclers, the machines that are making the scrap. I removed our cyclic assembler that we had right here that was turning the scrap into scrap boxes. Yeah, and everything else I've left the same up here. Yeah, Mass Fabricator still doing its thing. I did remove 3 of these MFSUs down here, so we're down to about 1/4 of the amount of power, the EU power we had done here previously. So yeah, my inventory is kind of full. I decided to stop taking machines apart before I have no room to place them. So let's go to the Quarry Dimension. I have that over here being powered right now. Yeah, let's go to the Quarry Dimension. We haven't been here for a minute. Yeah, this thing finished up a little while ago, and I messed some things up, so I had to move the markers so it wouldn't start all the way from the very beginning. But yeah, I don't think we've been here since this has finished up. Yeah, this is what our netherrack tendrils look like. They are now dirt tendrils with grass on them and flowers and all sorts of cool stuff like that. Yeah, before they were looking like this, right? So that's kind of cool. The rest of the area, you can't really tell anything's happened here. Yeah, that's because it doesn't touch the trees or the leaves, and the grass all stays the same. But yeah, it replaces all the stone down below. So I guess what we could do, I'm trying to figure out where I want to put like all of our stuff. I don't really know a good place to... Yeah, I don't really know a good place to put this. I guess anywhere on the surface, right? It doesn't really matter that much, but we want to put it in a spot that we've already quarried so we have no reason to go back. Like, for instance, I think everything from this corner is what I did. So, like, all of this stuff, this has all been quarried out. So anything in this general direction should be fine for us to place what we need to place. But yeah, I've made 8 more ultimate hybrid solar panels, so we should be good here. Let us place down, I guess we'll do... place some of this stuff down. So there is 4, 8. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to lay these out. I guess I'll just place down a bunch of these cables like this. This tree's going to have to get wrecked here in just a second. Get wrecked, tree. Why do you need an axe anymore? You don't. Okay, so we can place down these ultimate hybrids. Yeah, right like this. Just place these down here. It used to be the case with Industrial Craft that these cables could only transfer 8,000 or EU per tick, I think is what it was. And if you gave them more than that, they'd burn up. I don't think that's the case anymore. In fact, I think all of that's been turned off in this experimental version of Industrial Craft 2, so you can pipe unlimited amount of power through these. At least it was like that in FTB Ultimate. I haven't really experienced much in this Ultimate Evolved. I'm sorry, not Ultimate, Infinity. I haven't really tried Infinity Evolved, but I assume it's all the same. So with that, we can take the power from these cables, lead that into like these MFSUs, like we were doing previously. Yeah, just a place to, whoops, I didn't mean to place it there. Oh, dang, now I got to go through this hassle and pull out my wrench. Oh my goodness, that was a double fail right there, guys. Yeah, to pull out my wrench here and then pick these things up, because that's not where they go. All right, let's not derp that this time. So place here, place there, cool. And we can just connect these with some of the wires in the back like so. Awesome. All right, so from here, we can take all this power and put this into something like our recyclers or whatever. I guess, trying to figure out where the best place to put these. I don't know. These are charging up, right? Yeah, it looks like everything's fine on these. Yeah, so we'd probably want to put all the power from these solars into some kind of batteries like this that can output the higher EU per tick. I think that's better than the 512 for what we're doing. And then we will put this into like our Mass Fabricator and into all of our other machines. I still got to move some stuff. Let me go ahead and, yeah, disassemble our Mass Fabricator, move all that stuff here, and we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys. Well, I spent some time here and I cleared out a spot for all of our solar stuff. Yeah, I marked out a 3x3 chunk area here, so this is going to be pretty good. We can stick a Railcraft chunk loader world inker thingy in the center, and yeah, we'll have all of this area loaded. Another thing that I'm probably going to do is make myself a magnum torch and stick that in the very center as well. We are getting monsters spawning around here randomly. There are like lighting glitches underneath some of these trees and some of these tendrils. And yeah, I've seen like creepers kind of hanging out just along the border of this little area that we have marked out. And you can see like over here, we're already getting like monsters spawning on the surface for whatever reason. They shouldn't be, but yeah, there's lighting glitches or whatever that are happening. So they're spawning there. You can't see the darkness because I have the night vision on. But anyway, so I have everything laid out here. So we have our 4 recyclers that are feeding the scrap into this cyclic assembler. The resident retriever is pulling all this scrap out of there. So yep, we got all this stuff happening. And this is turning the scrap into scrap boxes, going right here into our deep storage unit. And then in the Mass Fabricator, I have a polling upgrade. So this is polling, well, it says automatically input from the first valid side. So yes, it is pulling the scrap boxes out of here and filling up its own inventory. And then we are pushing the fluid that it's making into this UU matter drum now. So yep, that's pretty cool. I have all the other things here, the scanner, the pattern storage, and the replicator, so we can start crafting those, and also the molecular transformer. But I think we're going to need more solar panels for everything that I want to do here, and at the speed I want to do it. So for right now, we're just collecting UU matter. We're not crafting anything else. But yeah, we will eventually get this stuff crafted up. Now, I thought I had originally thought that this pattern storage, when you broke it or whatever, it'd lose all of its stuff inside, but no. It does remember all of these items, so you do not really need to keep all of the stuff on the memory like I've been doing, but I still like to do that in case, you know, I want to put up a second one of these. In order for the replicator to work, it has to be touching one of these pattern storage in order to know all the items that it can craft. So yeah, you need multiple of these if you want your replicators in different spots or whatever. So anyway, that's the way I'm doing it. But yeah, you definitely don't need to use your... you don't have to craft as many of those pattern storages. No, not the pattern storage, the crystal memories, and then leave the stuff on there. You can wipe them and put new stuff. So anyway, I think we're kind of done messing around with this stuff for right now. I'll just put all these machines down here, just so I don't have to keep them in my inventory. Yeah, we'll just keep them right here. That's all fine. And yeah, after I moved all the MFSUs here, I realized, oh, right, we don't have any EU power back at the base because we were transforming our RF into EU and storing it in these things. And after I removed those and put them here, yeah, all those machines that we had set up are no longer gonna work. Just saw this guy over here. This is Bassal's. Correct. Pulverized obsidian. What am I hearing? Was that just that mob? I guess it must have just been that mob that I was hearing. Yeah, so anyway, I had realized that we ran out of power, so I set up some auto crafting patterns back at the base. I made 2 more of these. We don't have the same amount of power as we had before, but I don't know if we need that or not. So anyway, also, yeah, the cyclic assembler here is being powered by one of these hardened solar panels we had left over from before. This does require RF power, so I had to do something here. I did try converting the EU power into RF using the immersive engineering cables. I couldn't get that to work for whatever reason. Like, I tried off the glass fiber cable, I tried directly off the MFSU, the side with the little dot. It wouldn't take any power from EU and convert it to RF. So yeah, I just put a solar panel here. Anyway, it just kind of makes more sense. But yeah, I definitely want to get more of these solar panels hooked up. Yeah, we're definitely going to want more for the type of stuff that I want. Pretty much, I don't know if we're going to do this or not, but I would like to have it set up where this whole thing is going to be automated. where we can automatically craft ultimate hybrid solar panels. You know, it'll gather all the energy it needs from the sun. It'll replicate all the things it needs, and then it'll craft everything to make more. That would be the kind of the ultimate goal for this area. I don't know if we're ever gonna get to that point or not. It might just be kind of like a pointless thing. I don't know everything that we can replicate with the replicator, but a lot of items that we can produce from this would be pretty cool. But anyway, that's just some thoughts that I had with this area. But now I think we're done for now here. Let's go back to the base. I wanted to get these other things hooked up so we can continue our auto crafting endeavor. So I made 2 more metal formers here. We're going to have one on rolling. We're going to have one on cutting. And then we'll have our last one over here. Oh, you know what? I need to grab my wrench, my wrenchity wrench, my electric wrench. Yeah, we will put one last one over here for extruding. I think that's the last thing we have. Yeah, extruding, cutting, and rolling. What was that? Is it thundering outside? I heard something like an explosion. It might be thunder. I think we're fine. So anyway, we need to get all of this stuff hooked up here. So we're going to need some interfaces. We'll need 3 of these things, and we can just put these in our crafting grid to turn those into the ME interface, the cable version. Then we'll just break a block here so we can get underneath and place those guys right like that. I just need to hook up the cable to these, make some patterns so we can say, hey, here's an iron ingot, give me an iron plate, or hey, here's an iron plate, give me some iron metal casings or whatever. All the different things we want. We definitely want these for the different cables, like the copper cables we keep running out of. So that's always annoying. Can't remember what the cutting is used for. I'm sure it's something. But anyway, we will have this available should we need it. But yeah, I think we should be good to go. So let me get a few more things going here. Hook all of the applied energistic stuff up, make some patterns, and we'll be back, guys. All right, cool. So I got some of this stuff all hooked up over here. So we have our different metal formers, right? And then we have our interfaces down below. We can see some of the patterns that I have created over here. If we go to the interface terminal, so we can see we have the different metal formers renamed so we know where to place these patterns. Because if you don't have these things named, they're just going to say metal formers. So you could put the one that's supposed to go on the rolling machine to the extruding, and you wouldn't know without actually going over there and, you know, physically looking at it. So how did we get these things? So it says metal former, cutting, extruding, and rolling. Well, what you can do is take a Certus quartz cutting knife and an iron ingot, for instance. I can't remember if it's only iron. It might just be. But yeah, if you take the cutting knife and you right click on it, you get them up with this UI. Then you can put a iron ingot here and name it something. Hi. Okay, and then you can rename something to this. Now, I don't know if this is the same thing as like putting it on the anvil. It might be. But with this setup, you can take it into an inscriber. And for instance, let's grab another interface. We'll grab one of these things. We will put it right here with this. And this will rename it so it says, hi. All right, so we can take this thing and just stick it right here. All right, cool. So if we go upstairs and we look at our interface terminal, we should now see hi listed right there. Now, one thing I did notice on these things, like the tooltip still says ME interface when this is connected to something. And when you right click on it, there you see the changed name. So I kind of feel like you have to do it this way. I haven't tried putting it through an anvil. That might do the same thing. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, this is the way you rename items in IC2 anyway, or I'm sorry, AE2. So we have some things set up here. Like I said, I put in some patterns. I made a pattern. So 64 iron ingots make 64 iron plates, right? And then I have another pattern up here that takes 9 iron plates and makes 1 dense iron plate. Cool. So the reason why I wanted to do that is so when we go to make, I don't know, pellets. Oh my goodness. PL. Pellets of RTG fuel. We want to make 100 of those. Yeah, we can go ahead and craft up all the iron plates required, compress those into dense iron plates, and yeah, all of that stuff will be auto-crafted. Well, why do we want pellets of RTG fuel? The Yellorium fuel rods. Yep. We're going to look at expanding our big reactor sometime soon, and I wanted that auto-crafted. So that was one of the big reasons for getting all this stuff moved over here so we can set up these multiple metal formers, because crafting all that stuff by hand takes so long. It's ridiculous, like filling up a deep storage unit full of those things and then trying to feed that into a compressor later. If we can just have this all happen automatically and I can do something else for 30 minutes, much better in my opinion. All right, so we got that figured out. We have the gelic cryothium we've already melted down from all the dust that our bees are making. We have a way to auto-craft the pellets of RTG fuel. We need to get more of that plutonium coming in. I don't remember how much we have, actually. We might have enough for a few of those. We have 762. It takes 3 of those per fuel rod. I don't remember how many fuel rods we needed per layer. But yeah, that's something we're going to have to look at, is getting the plutonium crafting once again so we can make that and expand out our reactor. And then I would like to look at setting up one of those Draconic Evolution power storage units. That's probably going to be the next thing we work on, and then we can finally get rid of this battery that we have here. We'd open up another spot for something else that we can put here, maybe more just random machines that we use every now and then. We'll go there. I don't really know. But yeah, this is great getting the auto crafting hooked up here. We're almost fully automated at this point. There's still a few things I'm doing by hand, but you know, as I get to the point where I get tired of doing those, I'm going to look at setting up the automation for that, definitely. But yeah, I think we're going to go and wrap up the episode here today. Yeah, lots of stuff we had going on today. Set up our solar farm, finally, in that it's always a sunny dimension. Yeah, that's going to be really good. We'll be able to create all of our UU matter and replicate all the things over there. All the things that are replicated we can have sent back here, like the plutonium, for instance, like we were talking about. So yeah, lots of cool things happening. I like it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on this episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.